Welcome to the Thrill of Driving podcast on the Evo India channel. This week, we've got Atish Mishra and myself, that is Watish, on Instagram, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. And me, Sirish Chandran, SIRISHCHANDRAN, on Twitter, Instagram, all social media handles. And this is the Thrill of Driving podcast on Evo India. As always, we're going to be talking about cars, bikes, motor shows, motorsport, but we start with something massive that arrived in the post just this morning. Adish,
I got it. It's right there.
So this is an invite. Okay, believe it or not, this is the invite to the Tata Altroz media preview drives that is going to happen early next week.
How is it open?
Can't pass it here. This is very complicated. It's a non-transferable invite, so it's only for me. So that's why. So that's why you can't touch it also. So it's got the Altroz. It's got a nice scale model. Adish, maybe you can
Take it.
open it up without breaking it. And what I find astonishing are these two gold goblets.
Yeah, why?
I have no clue. I think so. They call this the gold standard. I'm sure on social media also you might have seen the gold standard hashtags. So I guess because of that,
I'm just not going to open it.
yeah, but just be careful, man. But try and open it so at least we can look at what the Altroz looks like now that it is finally in production form and not the 45X concept that was shown last year, 2 years back actually, at the Auto Expo. So actually this has been 2 years in the making.
Yep.
Because at the Auto Expo, they showcased this at concept form and now it is finally production reality. Honestly, it looks really
nice,
good.
huh? Yeah.
Now, this is the first time I'm actually looking at it. I hadn't looked at it before. I am curious about it. So, at the front,
It's got a tallish bonnet.
It's got this nice cut over here with the headlamps, neatly integrated into the grille. I think it's very stylish. Tata Motors has been killing it on the styling front, honestly.
Really
Even the Harrier, very stylish. Of course, they have sacrificed a bit of function for form, especially the wing mirrors that are so massive and they create those massive blind spots and you can't see bikers, especially in a city like Pune, which is infested with bikers. I don't know what this will be like because we're going to only drive it next week. But overall, it's a very stylish car.
Yeah, it's got this dual-tone roof.
Yeah, and look at the rear. It's got this blacked out hatch with the head, with the tail lamps looking like this sort of floating effect that's going on. Blacked out roof. It's got a kink in the shoulder line under the.
It's got a very strong bonnet line actually.
Very strong bonnet line. Very good definition to it.
Yeah.
This scale model
So can we see the interiors?
Yeah, it's nicely detailed. It's got a floating screen.
Okay.
Now that is de rigueur in everything.
Yeah.
Everything has to have a floating screen. And I think it has got a digital cockpit.
I like how they're teasing us here.
It looks sort of like a digital cockpit, not to show what's going on there, but I think it will be a digital cockpit. And I hope finally Tata Motors moves away from having those small dials. Even the Harrier, such a massive SUV, but the dials are small. So I hope this has got nice, big, legible dials. The seats look comfortable. That's all you can really make out from the model. And got a manual gearbox or an automatic?
I guess it'll have both.
This looks like an automatic. If you see, there's no gate.
Okay.
So it doesn't have a pattern on it. And it sort of looks like the sequential gearbox on my rally car. Now, it obviously won't have a sequential gearbox. And I don't think this is a premium hatchback. So this is going to slot in against the Elite i20. So it has to have a proper automatic.
Exactly.
Maybe a CVT, but I think it'll have a normal automatic. This does not look like a manual, so I think it's going to have an automatic. And I hope it's not an AMT, because an AMT won't go really with a premium hatchback. It's got largish wheels. Can you see what's written on the wheels?
There's nothing. There's a big T on them, but that's about it.
So it'd probably be 16-inch wheels because that's what the i20 also has. And at the rear, like the Harrier, it's got Altroz written right across the
it's also
tailgate.
got these, the door handles are up here and not, there's nothing
Yeah, so
on
the
there.
door handles are in the C-pillar, blacked out in the C-pillar. So the rear doors are flush.
It's a little
There's
flimsy.
no... Okay, so hopefully the car is not like this. I'm sure the car will be better built because now this is on Tata Motors' brand new hatchback platform. It's the first of its kind on this platform. It should be...
There's 3 pedals. It's a manual.
Okay, so 3 pedals. This one is a manual. I missed that. Well spotted, Atish. It's the new platform, so it will have more space. It will ride and handle much better than any Tata Motors hatchback up until now. What else do we know? It should have good engines.
It's an entirely new platform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just said that, Atish. You've
So I
been
asked
so
to
into the car.
engrossed, I
I
wasn't
just said that.
listening.
It'll also have new engines, but we're not sure really what it will be.
And
but I think it'll be the
BS6 compliant straight
it'll
from
have to
launch?
be BS6
Yeah.
compliant because it's going to hit the roads in January.
Right.
So it has to be BS6 compliant. It'll have the 1.2 turbo petrol engine.
Yeah.
The diesel, not too sure what it's going to be because the 1.3 Fiat is not upgrading it to BS6 standard.
Yeah.
So what diesel engine this will have? That's a big question
Maybe
mark.
we won't have a diesel at launch.
We might not have a diesel at launch. That's true. So we might not have a diesel at launch, but these cars are moving. The segment is moving towards petrol, so it should not be too much of a problem.
Fair enough.
It'll still account for some volumes, but hopefully not too much of a problem for Tata Motors. But overall, if you look at the car, if you look at the model at least, if you look at it, all Tata Motors hatchbacks had those ungainly wheel arch gaps. This does not have it.
Fair enough.
This looks proportionate. It looks sleek. It looks really good. I think
It does.
if the real car looks somewhat like this, that could mean that the Altroz will be the best looking hatchback on our roads right now. Do you think anything looks better than this?
I like how the Figo looks.
I think this looks better than the Figo. This looks more mature, more modern. It looks bigger. It's got a very nice stance. It looks upmarket.
It does.
I think overall, Pratap Bose has really nailed it on the styling front. They've been killing it on styling, and they're going to set a new benchmark.
Let's just
with
hope they get the
Altroz.
ergonomics right this time, yeah?
I'm sure they. Well, okay. So let's drive the car. We're talking so much about it. Let's drive the Altroz.
Fair
Let's
enough.
see if they can actually make a difference, and let's see if we can put these goblets to use
in the
sometime.
office.
A scale model is always welcome in the Evo India office. Goblets. So anyway, moving on. 3rd, 4th December, that's when we are driving the Altroz in Jaisalmer.
So
I think
overall,
we have an
like-
embargo for the week, so maybe at the end of the week, we'll be able to tell you about it in our podcast. I hope to get Pratap Bose also on the podcast while we are there
Yeah,
at
that'd be a
Jaisalmer.
great
So
idea.
time permitting, we will do that. And he's quite outspoken.
Yeah.
He has strong opinions on design, on what is working, what's not working, on his icons, on designers that he admires. So getting him on the podcast will be really cool, and we will be able to really get some cool insights out of a guy who is really doing a damn good job on the styling front.
But okay, the Outros is one thing. Let's talk about Tata Motors in general. They've actually been doing quite well in India.
Now, I'm not too sure about doing quite well because if you look at the numbers, they have dropped. Now, the entire industry has dropped. So that is a fact. No, that's affected the entire industry. But I think Tata Motors has been hit harder than others. Maybe not Maruti, but
Right, yeah.
compared to the others, I think Tata Motors has been hit quite hard with the slowdown. It's also a fact that after the Nexon, which really took off quite well, we gave it our car of the year 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It impressed us that much. And it is a nice SUV. You know, it rides well, it handles well, it's got good engines, it looks great. It's just that last 10% on the quality front, on the fit and finish, that's still not perfect. And the good thing about now the Altroz that we were talking about, the Nexon was a stopgap product. It was not a new platform. It was a carryover platform from the earlier Tata Motors vehicles, which was obviously re-engineered, rehashed, reworked, and improved upon, but not an all-new car. And even though it was not an all-new car, it did impress us massively.
Yeah.
So much so that we gave it the car of the year. With the Altroz, which is on an all-new everything, and then if you look at what they did with the Harrier, for instance, right? The Harrier, they got it right. Few niggles here and there, like those wing mirrors causing a massive blind spot, the handbrake lever, very oddly, ergonomically a disaster. Let's put it that way. Let's not mince words.
Yeah.
But otherwise, overall, the Harrier is quite nice.
And in fact, at the launch, when we were talking to them, they spoke about how with the Harrier, they've finally been able to draw on manufacturing processes from JLR
Yes.
and integrate them. Industry 4.0, they're trying to get
Yes.
that into their factories. And the Harrier was the first car that actually received any of that.
And for the better.
Yeah, for the better. And hopefully, it should do well for the Ultras as well.
Yeah, true, because with the Ultras also, they will have much improved production processes, a greater focus on quality, which has always been Tata Motors' bugbear. Tata Motors always had 90% of the cars perfect. That last 10%, which was the fit finish, which was the quality, that got lost in translation.
I guess with the Harrier came down to 5%.
Yeah, with the Harrier it came down to 5%, and now the Harrier is got an improvement that is coming. So it was codenamed the Buzzard, and now it has been named the Gravitas.
What do you think about the name though? I actually prefer the Buzzard name, honestly.
No, you come to office and what car did you bring to office? I came to office in the Gravitas. You talk with Gravitas. I don't know. So you can have a lot of opinions on names. For instance, the Laura name in the Indian context. Now the car should have bombed, but the car was really good, right? So the car ultimately it depends on how good the Gravitas is going to be. So what is the Gravitas? The Gravitas is the 7-seat Harrier. So it's got that 7 seats that everybody's been asking for. But more importantly, and what people have been asking for even strongly, is an automatic gearbox. And finally, the Harrier is going to get that. So that'll be in the Gravitas, which will... Gravitas. Sorry. So that'll be in the Gravitas.
The Gravitas is also going to make more power than the Harrier.
Yeah, so it will have the Compass spec engine.
Correct.
170, 75 odd horsepower. So it'll move better. So it'll take care of, because automatic gearboxes, it's not a DCT gearbox, it is a regular automatic gearbox. Here it is a Hyundai sourced automatic gearbox. So sort of like the 2-saw gearbox.
Oh, that'll be nice.
So it will suck out some power from the engine, but being the 175 horsepower engine, little more torque, so it should suffice. The Harrier has always had great ride-and handling, which we've always really liked. So this should improve upon that.
It's going to be a larger car, so...
Not that much larger, but yeah, it will be a little larger. If you look at those sketches that they put out, the rear doors are longer.
It's got a...
So it'll have, if the second row is on rails, so it'll have a little more space in the second row. If they are really smart about it and if they can package it well, you might even have captain seats in the second row.
Does this have a longer wheelbase?
I think so. I think it has a longer wheelbase. Depends. Now, we'll have to wait and watch. I'm not too sure about it. But if they have more space inside, they could put captain seats. So they could make it even more comfortable. So it could be even nicer to be both chauffeured in as well as to drive. And if they sort out that bloody handbrake, then they can really sort it out. If they can sort out the wing mirrors and reduce the blind spots, excellent. So there is a lot of potential for improving upon the Harrier. And the thing is, the Harrier needs a push. Because it came in with such a bang and they did this really nice teaser campaign and there was so much of excitement building up to the Harrier launch. Then when the Harrier came out, they didn't have enough production to fulfill the demand at the start. Then people started going away from the showrooms. Then they had the SUVs in the showroom. So they really didn't get their launch strategy right. And it could have done much better. You don't see too many Harriers on the road, do you? You just spot this one odd Harrier, cuts a nice striking figure on the road, but you don't see too many of it. And it deserves to do much better than it does right now. So hopefully with the Gravitas, it will do what it is supposed to do.
I know what he's doing, slightly annoying.
You want it a little deeper? Gravitas. Actually, they should get Barry White to do a Gravitas sound tune. Like, no.
There's still time for the launch, so I might be listening and take you up on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got the Gravitas. So, anyway, moving on from the Gravitas.
Fair enough. Moving on. This man was at the LA Motor Show.
And yes, I was at the LA Motor Show and I can happily report that there's nothing to report.
Hey, no, you saw that Celtos, yeah?
So at the LA Motor Show, Kia launched the Celtos for the North American market.
Correct.
Which is for India a matter of pride because first they came to India and it's the exact same Celtos that is being launched in North America. Of course, a little changes. So it's got a larger 1.6 turbo engine because obviously North American highways and everything. So it's got a larger engine and it's got all-wheel drive. In fact, even the base version of the Celtos gets all-wheel drive.
So they're all all-wheel drive over there.
So they're all all-wheel drive versions. They showed two cool concepts with nice mud tires and raised suspension and lights and axe on the roof and all of that. right? Looks cool, but anyway, it's just all concepts. But it's all-wheel drive, and the big difference from the Indian version is got a different dashboard. So the top of the instrument binnacle, the speedo cluster, that is rounded in a traditional way, whereas in India we get that rectangular, which I think looks nicer. But apart from that, what North America gets is the same Celtos that India gets.
Is it the same wheelbase as well?
Same. Everything
because
is
I
the
think
same.
the venue that they sell there is a longer
Slightly
wheelbase.
longer. Yeah.
So,
but the Celtos is the same.
It's the same.
And that is going to be Kia's entry SUV in North America, Canada, so that entire region. But first in India. So matter of pride.
And production is where?
Production is in Korea.
Okay.
So it's going to be made in Korea for North America. Hyundai, they also had a cool concept, the Vision T, which is a shrunken Urus. Which is really good because so Hyundai, whenever they show concepts, eventually it does filter down to their road cars.
Right.
Obviously, filtered down, so it's not going to be so in your face. But it's got this cool LED concept, which is much bigger. So it's got a more distinct visual identity.
Right.
But it is an Urus that is shrunken down. And if you get a Urus at Hyundai prices, okay, you won't get a Urus engine. Yeah, you won't get an Urus engine. But Hyundai haven't been skimping on performance either. So it'll be okay for the size of it. But you'll get a really cool looking Hyundai. And these guys are really doing a very good job on design. In fact, everybody is really upping the game in terms of design. Are there any shit looking cars?
The BMW M3, which is supposed to be coming in very soon.
I don't think it's... There are no shit looking cars. Let's put it this way.
Is that one second. Was that M3 picture that we saw legit?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You know, the one with the big grill and all that?
No. I don't think so.
I hope it's not legit.
Yeah,
because
so I don't think so. See, it creates a lot of conversation. That's for sure. Now, when I was in LA, we saw a couple of X7s on the road.
Yeah.
And in America, when you compare it with all the Ford F-150s and those Chevy trucks and all that, the X7 looks lovely. It actually looks lovely. It looks well proportioned.
I guess context matters then.
Context matters, that's what. And it has been made for North America.
Correct.
And China. Now, both these places, you're having bigger and bigger cars. In China, not as much as in America. But in America, everything is large. Everything is oversized. You go and ask for a Coke. They ask you for a small, medium, large. The small is larger than the large that you get over here. Right? And a Coke is unlimited refills. A coffee is unlimited refills. It's just conspicuous consumption, and it translates into the vehicles that they use also. So all these GMC Suburbans and all that, they are massive V8 engines. Stand
next to an F-150 and the bonnet is...
Exactly. I don't know how they pass pedestrian crash regulations. Maybe it's just that it's instantaneous death, so there's no pain. But how can those bluff things, so you don't make them suffer. Well, I don't know how those pass pedestrian crash test norms. So in that context, the X7, decent looking. It actually looks nice, fucking decent, nice looking. So coming back to what I was saying, there are no shit looking cars. There are no shit cars. Which is what
again
we get. So we've been driving all these cars. Now it is in comparison to this, this is not so great. But all in isolation are more or less up there. So we get a lot of comments saying that, okay, you're saying good things about this car, so you're sold out. And you're saying good things about this car, so now you're sold out over here. And you're saying good things about that car and you're sold out over there. But the fact is that cars aren't shit anymore. So if you look at, there was a lot of negative reviews and comments, not reviews, but comments on the Hector. But we said that in our Hector versus Celtos comparo, that if you're going to be chauffeur driven, the Hector is excellent because there is so much space in the car, in the SUV. It's got this huge sunroof, so it lets in so much of light into the cabin. It's got comfortable ride. The low-speed ride is great. So if you're going to be chauffeur-driven, great. If you want to drive, take the Celtos. Great. There are options for everybody. So when we say good things about a car, it doesn't mean that, oh, we like this car more than that car, or we like this manufacturer more than that manufacturer. We are considering cars purely on their merits. On merit, there are a lot of cars that stand out. So for backseat guys, there is these cars. For drivers, there are those cars. For performance enthusiasts, there are turbo petrols now. So there was all this talk about turbo petrols. Nobody's going to spend money on turbo petrols, and turbo petrols are a waste of money. And it's only you performance-oriented idiots that you're forcing us to bring turbo petrols. Look at what Hyundai have done. Look at what Kia have done. The Venue with the turbo petrol engine, it's selling really well. It's selling more than the small 1.2 petrol. The Celtos with the 1.4 turbo and the DCT is what 25% to 30% of their volumes.
People want them.
People want them. People are asking for performance. People are enjoying driving. And make no mistake, turbo petrols aren't great on fuel efficiency. If you don't know how to drive them well, and if you drive them like a NATAS engine, you are not going to get great performance, great efficiency out of them. You'll get, mushkil se double digit. No. But that's fine because people are enjoying driving. Now in the city, obviously in traffic, you're not going to enjoy driving. But then people are taking it out. People are enjoying their cars. And that's a great thing for us, for enthusiasts, that people are spending money on enthusiast cars. And on that front, we are going to do a story very soon. We won't tell you what it is.
It's in the next issue.
It's in the next issue of the magazine, which we just put to press. So you will enjoy that. You will enjoy the video. Well, that day by the end of the day, I was finished with the amount of driving that we were doing.
A lot of hard driving.
A lot of hard driving. You'll enjoy that video. We'll talk about that in our next podcast. Other interesting things this week?
Lots, I mean, the DBX, the Cybertruck, where do we begin?
Cybertruck. Let's go for the Cybertruck. What do you think of the Cybertruck?
I'm not convinced. I think he's trying to be very out there, but I'm not sure if it's going to actually make it to production in that form.
So here's what I think. Elon Musk had to make a statement with the truck.
Sure.
Okay. And that, if it works, it'll be the best selling Tesla because North America, trucks.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? And if you thought about your wildest, your completely rad out there idea, you'd still not come halfway to what the Cybertruck is. The Cybertruck, it's a wedge.
I think if you gave a 6-year-old a pencil,
I don't think even a 6-year-old would have been able to pen that because it is so far out. It's radical.
It looks like a moon rover, let's put it that way. It looks genuinely like something that would go and
it looks like a Mars rover.
Mars rover.
Yeah. So you need to connect, right? So
fair enough.
With SpaceX and everything, it looks like the Mars rover. I think it is mad. Okay. I don't think it's great, but I think it will work if they can bring that. And now he's talking about making it with a new alloy, which with their whole SpaceX expertise, they can make that alloy. But that alloy is so tough that normal presses cannot bend it. So they need to figure out a new manufacturing process for it. And because it's so strong, it's armored. So you can take a sledgehammer to it and nothing's going to happen to the body.
You can take an iron ball to it, but then you might break the glass.
You might break the glass. So depending on what batch the glass came out of. So what they did at the launch, they said that the body is armored. They took a sledgehammer to the body, nothing happened. Then they said the glass is armored. They threw a metal ball at it. The front glass shattered. Then they said that, okay, we'll try the rear glass. They threw a ball at it. The rear glass also shattered. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see the clips of that right now.
Yeah. Oh my fucking god. Well, maybe that was a little too hard. Sure. Oh man, it didn't go through.
Right now. So that was a bit of a
I was actually,
egg in face moment.
I was actually reading something somewhere. Why is it that they haven't painted it? Apparently, Tesla's had regulatory trouble with their paint shops. Apparently, it doesn't comply to some sort of norms.
Okay.
Which is why they probably went ahead and said, we can
leave it unpainted
and get away with it.
Probably. So anyway, this is the concept, right? There were no way.
I don't know how verified that information is. So
yeah, but see, there were no mirrors. Now
correct.
You can do without. Actually, you can do without wing mirrors. You can have cameras, but there were no wipers. Correct. I wanted to say wipers. So you have to have wipers.
Also, I'm not sure how that armored wedge is going to fare with pedestrian crash safety.
Yeah, well,
and
if
stuff
an
like that.
F-150 can pass pedestrian safety, and if all those Chevy trucks, which is basically a brick wall coming at you, steel wall coming at you, if those can pass, then why not the...
Probably, yeah.
And with electric motors, again, tons of torque. So great for hauling load. So for using a pickup for what a pickup is supposed to be used, or hauling your boat is going to work. They say almost 800 kilometer range in the top end pickup. So that's a lot of range. Yeah. Obviously, great acceleration.
And their whole network's also increasing.
The network is increasing, and the Tesla brand is only getting cooler.
It is getting cooler.
So-
It's getting more outlandish as well.
That's cool,
I mean,
no?
the Model S still looked like a regular sedan.
Yeah.
The Model X
With the
still
Falcon
looked,
doors. It's cool.
Yeah, it was
This
Falcon
is-
doors were
yeah.
outlandish, but it still had the shape of an SUV. Now,
True.
they're starting to push the envelope a
Which
little
is
bit.
great, no? Because the thing that I keep thinking about with electric cars is why should an electric car look like a regular car?
I think
So,
for
so,
a sort
we're
of-
looking at
yeah,
all this, right? The Mustang,
Yeah.
the Mark E.
correct.
Okay, say that in Hindi and listen to how it sounds. But the Mustang Mark E
Yeah.
and the regular petrol engine Mustang. Okay, the Mark E is an SUV. It's a.
What's your opinion on that, though? What do you think?
I don't. I'm
them
not
putting a
convinced by
Mustang
calling.
badge in
So
the-
see, the Mach-E is a nice-looking SUV in its own right.
Fair enough.
It's like all these Cayenne coupes and all of that. The X6.
Yeah.
So it's a coupe SUV which is nice looking.
But then it's got a pony on the front.
Yeah, putting the Mustang pony on it, I'm not convinced. I think it's a marketing shortcut.
Yeah.
I don't think it reflects what the Mustang brand is all about. To me, the Mustang brand is affordable, noisy, raucous performance. It's hooliganism for
And it's that lifestyle.
young
It's that-
guys. Yeah, it's that lifestyle. Sticking it onto SUV.
I share the same opinion.
I don't think so. So colleagues of ours, okay, they were saying that why not? And then I asked them this question that if they were to have called the Taycan the 911, would you have been okay with it? And everybody like, no, damn, no, hell no. And then
That's a fair question to
So
ask,
why
yeah.
not,
Yeah.
right? If you're okay with the Taycan being badged 911, then you should be okay with the Mach-E being badged Mustang. If not, then how is this okay?
Yeah.
And I think the Mustang is a great brand. It's
got so much
cool,
legacy,
It's
so
got
much
so much
heritage.
legacy.
Yeah.
There's a Mustang poster outside on our kitchen wall. It's nice. It's a brand that we've all grown up with. And only recently have we tested it in India because only recently it came to India because only recently it was launched with right-hand drive
drive.
and independent rear suspension. It took 40-50 years for them to put independent rear suspension on the Mustang. But that's because Mustangs have always been built to a price, and because it's been built to a price, because it's been affordable, that's why it's got such a legacy, and so many people have got such great memories of it. So anyway, that's
We're
what I
digressing
think.
again,
Yeah, that's what I think about the Mustang Mach-E and the Mustang, and it's the same with the pickup. I think it's good that it looks unlike any other car. I think it's good that at least he's trying to push that envelope in terms of why a car should look like a car or why a pickup should look like a traditional pickup.
And I think
nobody's doing that.
I think that bridge will happen. I think for some amount of years, electric cars are going to have to look like traditional cars to draw in those new
I think
buyers.
it's enough. No, I think it's enough. So
Barely, yeah.
you need a visionary like Elon Musk. The whole electric car buzz right now.
It
You have
started
to, you have to give it to him. It started with him, right? He's the one who actually started off this whole electric car race. Now, if he, with his visionary mindset, is going to make EVs look unlike traditional vehicles,
People
great,
will
right?
follow, I think.
People
Yeah.
will eventually follow. 5-10 years down the line, they'll say, fuck man, he had the right idea back then, and it's time we pulled up our socks and went that way. I think more power to Elon Musk. I'm not a fanboy, okay? I think what he's doing is great. I'm not like a salivating fanboy, but great stuff.
What do you think about the Aston Martin DBX then?
I think it's nice looking. A lot of people have said that, no, what's the point?
I think the tail's
But
a
I
bit
think-
overdone, but otherwise it's...
I think it's the nicest luxury SUV. When you look at the other stuff that's out there, you look at the Cullinan,
Yeah.
you look at the Bentayga. Come on, man. You look at the DBX and it's a nice looking SUV. It's an SUV that if you had to criticize, you would say that, okay, it's not very in your face. But that's the max you could criticize it for, right?
Yeah.
It's
It's very tastefully done.
Yeah, it's a lovely looking SUV. It's an SUV that looks like an Aston Martin. You don't even know to put Aston Martin badges either on the front or the back.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? They managed to create that identity both front and rear. So it looks like an Aston Martin. I'm sure it will drive well. We've been seeing pictures of it being tested in on ice lakes, and I think it will drive well because they are focusing so much
an
on
Aston Martin, and-
getting their
yeah.
dynamics right. Their chief engineer for vehicle dynamics has got a lot of history and heritage behind him. So I think they're going to really sort that out. The interiors look nice. It's got the AMG engine. It's got Mercedes electrical architecture. So all those things also will be sorted out. And Mercedes' latest architecture, not the old architecture that you get on the DBS.
Correct.
So everything will be modern. Everything will be up to date. What's not to like?
Well, a lot of people complain about the fact that, oh no, Aston Martin's making an SUV. And
Oh,
that's
come on,
sacrilege.
man.
And-
So you complained about Porsche making an SUV and Bentley making an SUV and Rolls-Royce making an SUV and all of them made a shit ton of money.
yeah. And
Porsche's
which will give us
Cayenne,
better cars. yeah.
exactly. Porsche's Cayenne, the money from the Cayenne has fueled better 911s, the GT4s. It's all thanks to the Cayenne money.
Yeah.
So, for all, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Right? If you don't like it, when you see it on the road, turn the other way.
And heads up, Ferrari is going to come out with one, so you can start screaming then again.
Yeah. Ferrari is going to make an SUV, which is not an SUV according to them. The SUV that is not an SUV according to Ferrari. So they are going to make it, and live with it. And in fact, even though we love sports cars, I know for a fact that in the city, an SUV or on Indian roads, regular Indian roads,
SUV is great fun.
and SUV works better because you can see ahead. The ride quality is better. The ground clearance is better. Mumbai after the rains, you can use a sports car. Hell no. You can use a sporty SUV. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like the Porsche Cayenne Coupe is launching next month. I drove it and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's got a V8. It's got air suspension. It's got terrific dynamics. You don't need anything else. Yeah.
Of course, a 911 will always be a 911.
Yeah, but then
no
again,
Cayenne will handle like a 911.
If your parking is gonna drown in Mumbai,
water, so
what are you gonna do with a 911?
So you you just buy the best that you can use, right? And that's why the Urus is selling like hotcakes in India, like
100 cars or something, no?
Ridiculous, no?
Yeah.
But it's selling like hotcakes, man. It's like they can't make enough Uruses to sell in India. Can you imagine? And then you talk about duties being too high and the price is too high and all that.
No one
but
cares.
people want, come on, give me an Urus, give me an Urus. A friend of mine is booked in Urus. Okay. He's waiting 2 months for it.
What are you saying?
Yeah. So, no, wait, 3 months, yeah.
Would have thunk you'd have a waiting list for
Yes,
Lamborghinis in India.
and he's a Lamborghini owner.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure Lamborghini owners get priority on wait list. He's waiting 3 months for an Urus. He's saying, take my money. Take 3 crores here. Take my money. But wait 3 months for an Urus. It's fantastic. Yeah. And I think the Ferrari SUV that is not an SUV is hopefully going to do that for Ferrari.
And hopefully when the DBX comes here, it'll get that sort of interest from owners, because
Exactly.
again, it's an SUV that can be used on a day-to-day basis. And
Aston Martin needs a push in India.
Yeah.
So this will do it for sure. So that was on Aston Martin. That was on the DBX. And I think we should talk about the Honda City. So
Honda City,
all new Honda City showcased this week in Thailand.
looks very similar to the Civic in the Accord.
Yeah, so it's got that Honda face to it, which I don't know. I think it looks okay. A lot of people don't think it looks okay, but styling is personal. You might like my face, you might not like my face. So it depends. I think it looks nice. The interiors are obviously all new and updated and look much nicer. Don't know about the quality inside. That's only when we get inside it. The big news, Honda has finally put a turbo petrol engine into the car. It's a 1 liter turbo petrol engine, makes around 120 horsepower, which is par for the cause, but no twin clutch gearbox. It's only got a CVT and obviously a manual, but a CVT. Come on. When?
The days of the old city.
Yeah.
They were fun cars.
Yeah, so let's see what it's like to drive. I'm sure
they
will.
It to India?
Of course, they have to. Yeah. So the city, the Thailand plant is the mother plant for the city, but India is a big market for the city. Yeah. The city is the Asian city, so it's for Southeast Asia where it does really well. So it'll definitely come to India. I think another 2-3 months max. It will be in India. It won't take that much time to come down here. So, and Honda needs a new car. It needs some action. So this will start kicking off some more action from Honda. So I'm excited about it. It's a car that when I was starting off 20 years ago, the City was the benchmark. If you had a Honda City, you were the shiz.
I remember when I was in school, we had drawing class, art class, we were kids. Somebody said, I bought a new car. What car? Drawn a very rough, grotesque picture of a car and written CITY right big in the middle of it.
The City, if you had a City VTEC, man, you were like the cat's whiskers. It was unreal. City VTEC, that wing, 14-inch wheels. Imagine 14-inch wheels was something to trip about those days. Yeah, it had that silver finish on the dash. You're like, oh! It had holes in the headrest. You're like, oh! Holes in the headrest. If you saw City VTEC on the road with those two pipes, two exhaust tips at the back, which were artificial. It was just stuck onto the main exhaust pipe. But you saw those, they're like, oh, City VTEC, VTEC. We had t-shirts with VTEC on it. VTEC was a matter of pride.
Yeah.
Today, Honda doesn't have that. Honda needs a car that people scream about and say, oh, look at that Honda. And that's what they need. They need to bring the Civic Turbo to India. They need to bring some hot cars to India. Sell it at a loss. But those cars will bring customers into the showrooms. We'll have us enthusiasts talk about Honda back like what it was. And plus, now they're getting back into form in Formula 1. Yeah, their engines now are getting up there.
They just signed a new contract with
Red Bull, with both the Red Bull teams. Red Bull's chassis has always been up there. Now with the engine up there, they could be gunning for the championship next year. So Honda needs to now go back to sportiness. Enough with the small diesels and all of that. Yeah, it's okay. It's important to push volume, but it's also important to get enthusiasts singing about the brand.
Now they're going to say again, because of you, we have to bring cars that don't sell to India.
Yeah, and please, turbo petrols. Indians are buying turbo petrols. You have to market it, you have to push it, and you have to price it well. And Indians will buy it.
Yeah.
Indians aren't just now looking at price. Those days are gone. Indians want safety. Indians want performance. Indian wants desirability. They want value. They've always been value conscious. So you can price the Altroz, for instance, at 9 lakhs or 10 lakhs. But you have to give them good engines, good build quality, good fit and finish. The styling, I think, is more or less sorted. It looks good. Hey, no flat underbody. So it is a nice looking car. It doesn't have that shark roof antenna. It's got normal ding 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 antenna, which is funny. I thought those days are gone, but
Clearly not.
Clearly not. Yeah. But anyway, if they make good looking cars like this, which can ride well, which can handle well, which can appeal to the owner, and crucially, if Tata Motors can sort out their dealerships, because the dealerships, oh my God, they're still nowhere close to Maruti, Hyundai, anybody. Their dealerships need to be sorted out, because when I buy a car like this, I want to go to a dealership that really makes me feel, that looks expensive, that looks high quality, that wants to, I should want to go there and say, here, take my money, take my 12 lakh rupees and give me an Altroz immediately. I want the first Altroz. So hopefully Tata Motors can get those things sorted out, and we wish them all the best. In fact, on the next podcast, we will talk about the Altroz.
You would have driven it by then?
No. We will have driven it. I'm not sure if the embargo would have lifted by then. I would have put something snarky or cynical on my Instagram, so you can have a look at that, see what I'm thinking but not thinking, or my opinion which is not an opinion. But once the embargo lifts, obviously we will talk about the Ultras. We will have a full review of it on all our channels. So check out Evo India at Evo India across platforms. Check out our YouTube channel, all our videos, all our drives that we've been putting out. Also, we'll have the latest issue of Evo on the stands by then. I don't want to give away what's on the cover, but it's a cover that we have not done before.
We haven't.
I'll give you a small hint. It's not sports cars. But it's SUVs this time on the cover. And it's all SUVs. And we've done some crazy stuff. You might have seen all the stuff that we did at Shingola. Where we took the Tiguan, went up to a snow-capped, snow-covered, snow-bound Shingola. You must have seen that on our social handles.
That video is going to be dropping soon.
You must read the story. Atish has done a damn good job of it. Rohit has done a phenomenal job of the pictures. Alamin has done a great job of the footage. In fact, the whole team has done a fantastic job, and I couldn't be prouder. So check all that out. And I guess we've exceeded our time on the podcast as always. So like, comment, share, and tell us what you think about the podcast. If you like what we're doing, if you don't like what we're doing, just let rip. And we'll see you next week. Thank you for watching or listening. Subscribe to the Evo India channel and hit the bell icon to keep pace with the thrill of driving.